I'm out here looking at the price of AMC, and yeah, it's not too bad of a day, but really over the past few weeks and months, things are looking and feeling tough for a lot of people. And even the most diamond-handed people can get a bit nervous now and again. However, we need to remember what we were initially here for and what we actually want out of the stock. Now, before we go any further, of course, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. And when I say what I want out of the stock, it's my personal opinion. You guys may want something completely different, that's up to you, that's completely fine as well. I'm just telling you what I came here for, and I know some people may agree with it, I know some people may disagree, but we're going to get into the video right away. So this one's coming off a list, and this is one of the best pieces of DD I've seen in a while. It's coming from Qtane on Reddit. It says this over here. So, the list of why, just in case you need a little pick-me-up. And these are all of the factors as to why we initially started, and actually all of the factors as well, why the Moass is likely to go ahead. So, the on-balance volume keeps rising, and apes are not selling. Let's break down all these points as we go. So obviously it shows that the volume is rising and the apes are not selling. That's immediately questionable for many reasons, as we have been discussing for a long time. Why can volume be so high if nobody's really selling their shares? It does indicate to potentially something going on behind the scenes. But yes, we've spoken about that point many times. We're also seeing a short interest percent of 20. Now this is a known fact, it's a known. Of course, there are speculations out there that it could be much higher than that, but the certain figure that we have is around 20, so there you go, and that is fine. Now, it's also speculated that some brokers are misreporting the short interest data, and these shares available to short data as well. So that would of course skew the figures, as we know. It would make them a little bit off, and that's one thing to remember right away. Now what we're seeing down here is IWM FTD, so failed to deliver. They were $2 billion in December. We're seeing as well married puts in the options chain that are unknown. We're seeing QA, which suggests that there are over 4 billion naked or synthetic shares. Now we've spoken about this, the figure does range, but what we've seen continuously is we've seen this trend where the amount of naked shares, synthetic shares out there are speculated to be extremely high, possibly even more than the entire float of the company. So that is a big factor on its own, but I think that was one of the best ones that we have seen so far. Anyway, BlackRock purchased another 9 million synthetic shares the other day. We know of that, we spoke about it on the channel. So yeah, BlackRock purchasing more, why is that? And of course, we spoke about it at the time. Why was it so easy for them to do so? 9 million is not an insignificant number in a float of just over $500 million. So the fact that you could pick it up so quickly is a little bit strange. Anyway, going on a bit further, we have 1,200 articles in a year by Crotley Tool telling you to sell. Once more, very strange. Yes, it's their job to point out things in the media, so fair enough to them, but you know, 1,200 in a year, that's more than a couple a day by simple maths. Very strange, very questionable as well. And then we have Adam Aaron saying retail owns 90% of the float, up from 80 the previous time he spoke, which is actually a big deal, because how can retail own 90% when institutions own, you know, more than 10%, and the insiders also are speculated to own around 10%. The numbers equal more than 100%, which does indicate then to those synthetic shares that we spoke about earlier. Back in January of 2021, they stole the buy button away from us. We know that as well. It's a big deal, and a lot of people are still sour about it, and I can understand why. But there we go, that's something which a lot of people are thinking about. We have Congress and the Fed insider trading. That has been quite popular recently. We know that's a very controversial issue, and it does point out as well that the markets are looking kind of rigged, actually. Let's see what else we've got here. So we've got JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citi taking a 4.5 trillion emergency loan back in 2019. Very good point. We spoke about this in detail just the other day. We made a few detailed videos on these topics. Then we had the same three being involved in 2008 as major participants. And that does show a lot about the way they operate, in my opinion. And on top of that, we're having all of this FUD, all of these shills in the sub. Also as well, we're seeing them all over my YouTube comment sections. That's my personal experience, but they're on stock twits, they're on other places, they're all over the place. It is really quite shocking. So you have hedge funds using victims' profiles, as we found out in a massacre to spread FUD. Now this was quite a while ago, and it's obviously quite controversial because it is a bit insensitive, but that's something that did happen. Again, it's insensitive, but as far as these statistics go, it is not there, but it does show us that they are monitoring us, most likely, as we've discovered just the other day, and they've been doing that for some time, probably. So coming down a bit further, we see over here, 85% of the hedge funds now monitor Reddit, Twitter, and social media. So that is going back to the point which I just said. Yep, a lot of them are having their eyes on us, and we spoke about this the other day too. Big deal, and it's like, why? You know, if they're so powerful, so big, why do they need to have their eyes on us as they do? Seems a little bit strange in my opinion. We have short hedge funds which are fighting any new rule about short reporting. We spoke about this one as well in a detailed video. If they can't really continue to be profitable or avoid short squeezes without these cheats that they have, it does say a lot about their techniques in my opinion. As I have said in that detailed video that we made, imagine if that was you or me, right? If we were a trader and we kept losing money because of our poor strategy, and we didn't want the rules to change because of it. Well, what does that say more about, the rules or our strategy? I think it is the second of the two. Anyway, so we have this certain company lowering quarterly withdrawals from 10% to 6.25. They had to take out outsider funding for the first time, and it's a market maker and a hedge fund and a prime broker, which gives them a clear conflict of interest. All of these 3 points we can bring together and summarize. So when we're thinking about them, it shows the control they have over the market, but also it shows the control they have over their investors in this point here. Why are they cutting that? Do they need that capital for some reason? Because, you know, from about 10% to 6.25, it is a big jump actually, so people will be feeling that, and it is questionable. Now as far as the funding goes, what's that all about as well? As we said in the third point as well, it's a market maker and a hedge fund and a prime broker, so why do they need to borrow money from an outside funding source? Seems a little bit strange in my opinion. So we had record percentages, or I think it is, of hedge funds closing their doors. So yeah, record numbers of hedge funds closing their doors. Definitely true. You know, back when that whole Archegos thing was happening, we had a lot of the hedge funds which were suffering subsequently and around that time, and that really hasn't gone away. We've seen a few others suffering as time goes on as well, and it is something that we're going to be seeing, I do believe, going forwards. Anyway, let's go down a bit and see what we have to read next. So a very good point that we have is the Department of Justice investigating hedge funds for market manipulation. We spoke about this one too. That's good. Will it bring out anything? We're not sure. And I wouldn't count on it for being the catalyst for the Moass, but yes, they are investigating. Will they come out with anything? Again, only time will tell, but I cannot wait to see what the results are. And then we had millions of retail investors like yourself and me wanting a better life. We want a better life, right? Why are there so many billionaires in the world and there's so many people like us who are barely even getting by? It just seems a bit iniquitous in my opinion, and I know a lot of you can agree. So what else are we seeing? We're seeing this is international. People from the US, from Canada, from Norway, from Germany, and everywhere else on the globe can and are buying. Cat Striker is forcing Ken Griffin to spend money on lawyers. Citadel Air is forcing Ken Griffin to spend money on lawyers. Other lawsuits against Robinhood and Citadel are ongoing. Millions of retail investors are looking at the new data every day, finding patterns and inconsistencies and flaws. Now, I like that last point, and I always do mention this one. That's the most powerful point in the argument for me, because it's like the longer this goes on, fair enough, right? We don't get the Moass today, oh well. What we do get is we get more insight, and this is not insight just for AMC. This is insight that we can carry on for the rest of the wider market when we go into trade afterwards if we choose to do so. Because think about it, now we're immune to the tactics, we're immune to the price jumps and manipulation and subsequent effects. So we're feeling now like we know what we're doing a lot more than we previously were. And like I have said, and like I do try and share with you guys every single day, every day that goes past we get more great, terrific news that we find out about the whole situation, whether it be the markets or AMC in general or certain hedge funds. It's a really powerful place to be in, and it is really a place of information, and we are learning. Really good stuff, guys. So thank you for joining me for this short video. I'll see you again. Goodbye. Thank you for watching through till the end, but let me tell you about our Discord. So on your screen you will be seeing the N2S Finance Discord. Obviously it is split into multiple sections. Basically at the top we have updates from me and all that kind of good stuff. If you scroll down a bit further we have the main sections where we focus on cryptos, SPACs and other hot stocks including penny stocks, even stable growth stocks as well, and we even have a special AMC GME chat. If you scroll down you can see some research and DD from the community. We also have funny memes and you can see actual contributions from members down here. And again, if you do join us, it is completely free, link is down below. But if you do want to become a Patreon, you will actually get a pink sticker which will be displayed on your name. So your name will come up in pink as mine comes up in red down here, and that will show that you are a Patreon. But other than that, guys, you can join completely for free down below. You do not have to pay anything if you do not want to. Thank you for watching, see you soon.